Maybe if we can go. Oh, there we go. All right. I feel like Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. Well, we're live. We decided to. Tasha called me and she was like, "Okay, can we go live?" I'm like, "Sure, no problem."
what could happen?
What could happen? 3 women talking on a live,
Yeah.
but this is the Epic Podcast. It's actually number 5, and it's actually not number 5. It's the episode posting number 5. There's like 15 in the can, so I'm looking forward to it. But I have Tasha Kidd and Holly Elrod. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Oh my gosh, y'all are so sweet to come do this live. I'm still I'm shaking, and I can do social media, and I'm kind of shaking because of live.
Yeah,
So
it's a little nerve-wracking.
Hey, I say go big or go home.
Yeah.
We got this.
And that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about mindset of a top producing agent and how we kind of have to get out of our shell. And this is one thing that we're talking about is just going above and beyond. So let's do a quick introduction.
Sure.
Let's start with you. We're going to my brain goes left to right. So Tasha, tell me a little bit about you.
Okay, a little bit about me. So I've been in real estate since 2012.
Okay.
I've been lucky enough to pretty much sell in a lot of different areas in DFW.
Yeah.
I've lived in Keller, I've lived in Mansfield, and now I live out in Parker County. So I've kind of got the best of both worlds. And then I have a ton of family on the east side of Dallas. So I also get to venture out there and explore that world and what's going on.
Yeah.
Started out with Remax in 2012 in Keller and South Lake. Spent a little bit of time with Remax Associates in Mansfield and Arlington.
Yeah.
Been with EXP for the last 6 years, and now we have made a jump.
Woo! There it is. Congratulations. And that jump is like fresh off the market. So we're hot off the press here.
It is. And we're super, super excited and happy to go on this adventure with 6th Avenue Homes.
I love that.
They're out of downtown Fort Worth
Good.
now, but we have other plans on the books.
I love that. Probably go Parker County, my guess, and Hood County.
We're
So exciting.
heading that way. Absolutely.
Yes.
We've got a lot of plans in the works. I guess the biggest thing about 6th Avenue, we had kind of sniffed around to see, what our next plan was as far as growth. EXP was an excellent model, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
We have been with them when they didn't have very many agents, and they've grown into a monster.
They are a monster.
They did teach us a great deal about being an agent, but as well as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So that's a blessing, but we felt like we needed something different,
Yeah.
something close to home.
Yeah.
Back
Back to the boutique,
really
right?
looking
is.
for culture.
Yeah.
I don't want to say family, but like people that had each other's backs.
Community. Yeah.
And I think from the minute we walked in the door at 6th Avenue, like it was probably one of the most natural conversations I've had about my personality, my vision, just who I was. I think she probably felt the same way.
Yeah.
So it was just a really natural.
And when you know, right?
Yeah,
It's just
And
one
it
of those
wasn't
things.
expected.
No.
Not that we were looking for new brokerage, but it wasn't expected to mesh that quickly that,
And as soon as you walk in the door, you have that conversation, you just feel the whole family atmosphere. And then you just kind of make it a no-brainer. Well, I absolutely love that. We're going to get back to that. And Holly, we have a weird acquaintance. So I actually worked with Holly's brother way back in Countrywide. And then we just kind of put 2 and 2 together. So tell me a little bit about you. You started with a boutique brokerage, right?
Yeah, smaller brokerage. It was literally, I think, 3 or 4 people.
Okay.
I came from Title before that, and it was actually I was working with one of the agents that was working with me at Title.
Okay.
I worked there for 2 years, started in 2015.
Yeah.
And then we had a personal relationship, friendship wise, from the preschool.
Yep.
And
leaving someone at the gym, apparently.
Yeah, leave me at the gym when 2 of them got pregnant. Go figure.
Look, go big or go home here.
So we had that working relationship already, and she was at EXP, and she's like, "Come work with me." And so it took a little bit, probably about
It took
7
months.
months.
Really?
She didn't believe me.
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
I think we'll be a great team.
Yeah.
And so was at EXP in 2017. So
Yeah.
been in the business for about 8 years, and then prior Title.
Okay.
And again, we EXP was great for us. It was
Right.
great for me. I did start out very slow in real estate,
Yeah.
unlike Tasha did, and so I didn't have as much under my belt with a bigger brokerage. And so it was great for me to transition, and it was great business model wise for
Yeah.
us. Let us grow together.
Right.
But yeah, we're super excited about 6th Avenue.
So on your team dynamics, how does that really work? Like, does a call come into a main number and you both split it? Does it get a text message? How do y'all kind of work that team dynamic?
No, we
No, we kind of work our own business. I
Yeah,
mean,
we
we're
do.
certainly there to support each other as far as, oh gosh, I've got this house, or oh, wait till you hear this one today. Like this is
So you just
new.
bounce stuff off of
yeah,
each other.
We do a majority. I mean, majority of our marketing is done together.
Good.
We have a lot of the same sphere of influence. We know a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have done deals where we, we'll both list a house or both help the buyer
Right.
and team up. But generally, we keep our business separately, except for troubleshooting and marketing and
I love
promoting.
that.
It's just support.
Yeah.
A lot of support.
And that's what we have to have right now. And that's why I love this topic that we're talking about, because we're talking about how we adapt to the mindset of top producing agents. And with this ever changing market that we're in, describe some of your daily routines you guys have together independently to keep your mindset going from this crazy butt market we're in.
Well, I don't know. Most people don't know this, but we probably spend a good hour on the phone in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
usually by 8 a.m., at least 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
We're talking about, what our goals look like for today.
Yeah.
What are the solutions we need to come up for, or, anything being thrown at us.
Right.
So usually we start off with a phone call, whether it's in the car or getting ready
Love it.
together.
It's usually while
on
getting ready.
Speakerphone.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
But it starts your day with a mindset.
It does.
Of just to have the goals that set.
It
And a
does.
lot of people, they don't realize like that morning affirmation, that morning call, like that's what changes your
and
mind.
not necessarily does the phone call pertain to business.
Yeah.
Because we both are in the throngs. I mean, she's got a college kid and a high school kid. I've got a child that will be a senior next year, a freshman next year, and then one obviously still in elementary school. So
Right.
sometimes it's just getting the mental mindset to like
Graduation.
family. Yeah.
I may have cried all of last
Yeah.
May, and now
I
like
know.
first semester's done, and I'm like,
it's crazy. It is
Yeah.
insane that their freshman year is done. I'm like,
she texted me, she's like, "Mom, I'll be home in a week and a half," and I was like,
Yes.
"Oh, that is
Yeah.
So,
insane."
I know it's so exciting.
So soak up senior year, because when they say don't blink, like it is incredible. So when you start your daily affirmations time, it just, and then that's the big thing for agents is just lean on someone. And that was a podcast I did last week, is lean on someone just to have a morning
Right.
conversation, because it can change the trajectory of your day for sure.
Yes.
So tell me on some of the qualities that you guys have. How do you implement it into your daily routine? Like, what does your daily routine look like? We have a phone conversation. Do you start knocking boots? Do you go outside? Do you have phone calls? Do you prospect? So what is something of your daily routine that is something that is a non-negotiable every single day, day in and day out, besides your morning hour
Our conversation.
or morning conversation?
I mean, we do touches on clients, either a
Right.
text, email, phone call, or just a Facebook post even, or,
Right.
just
Yeah.
interacting with social media. I think that's important, that I know that we both do.
Yeah.
Right.
Daily.
I think we're both pretty well connected to our sphere of influence. I think we both spend a lot of time with, our friends, family, and sort of our community partners. I mean, we do a lot of that on a weekend basis. I mean, like this last weekend, one of our title development people that we've worked with for years, I mean, we helped to host her 50th birthday party. So we try to stay very connected with people. I mean, social media is obviously a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably just
Touches.
Just touches.
Mhm.
So do y'all have something set up in your system? Because that's always the number one question. Do y'all have like CRM that says, hey, call this person today, text this person today? Or do you just like, hey,
I
wake up and you're like,
don't.
I need to call this person?
I think it's more organic.
yeah.
I mean,
do.
we like very organic business. We both work off referrals,
Yeah.
and I think you have to have it organic at that point.
Because some people have said their CRM, like it's so dialed in, which is great, but it's like, oh, hey, text this person of saying, hey, this, and this. And now it comes across as a robot.
Yes.
And it doesn't come across as natural.
Yeah, right. And that's something we've really been focusing on, because obviously over the last, I mean, if you combine both of us in real estate, it's almost 20 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of
people
time.
being in real estate. So obviously we have a book of business and clients and people that prospects. And so I think it's probably more of maintaining those advocate relationships.
Yeah.
The people that, are arm in arm with you.
Yeah.
All the time, that are on your team and want to see you grow and want to
Yeah.
support you. So I think we really try to keep dialed into those. That's kind of been a thing because you have all these people that you love and you want to love on them all the time, but it becomes a huge thing. And to what you said, being a robot, like that's just not something I jive with.
And it's 2023 and people can see robots and the AI technology that's coming out, which is insanely crazy for sure.
It's a little scary, to be honest.
It is. And when you start because I really like ChatGPT and I'm writing this stuff and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like it literally, I got an email from a real estate agent the other day and she said, oh, by the way, this came from ChatGPT. And I was like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, apparently my child already writes essays off Chat.
You can. And I had it write a medical dissertation for a 4th-year student to graduate, and it wrote me all these pages. And I was like, oh, so hopefully someone that's getting into the medical field, please actually do your job. Yeah. So how do we maintain a positive mindset in a world that now we're back in multiple offers, the rates are still a little bit high, challenges are coming for some home buyers? How do we keep a positive mindset each and every day?
I think
go ahead. You go ahead.
You go ahead. I think we do come across lots of things every day with transactions, something new every day, and it's just I think keeping that positive attitude with your clients even when something doesn't go the right way,
right?
And then finding. I know we talked about this yesterday about finding solutions to the problems.
Right.
So, and I know you probably want to go.
Yeah. Well, I think maintaining a positive attitude, sometimes takes a little bit like pulling your bootstraps up. Like, here we are today. Wow. Didn't see that
Gotta put the big girl panties on.
Yeah. I think
unfortunately,
a big view I have of real estate is I'll kind of link it back to like marriage. Like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you're committed to being in this industry, you know that there's twists and turns, there's challenges, there's problems. And for me personally, yes, do have off days where you're like, oh my goodness, like I literally could just, do something very simple and not complex.
Can I just go teach something?
Yeah, I can name a few jobs that I've thought about. But I think it's just realizing the commitment is that like we signed up a long time ago to be someone's problem solver or like we kind of coined like solution maker. We sort of like that terminology rather than problem
the solution
solver.
maker. And right now we need a solution maker because every person has
people depend on you. So they depend on you to overcome those challenges and to overcome and network and educate yourself about adapting to that market.
Right.
So I guess for me, it's sort of like, I've almost been married 19 years. She'll be married 20. Like, so obviously we've made those commitments and twists and turns of raising kids and families and balancing careers. So I think you have to apply that same logic with being in this industry. Like
that's a great way to look at it too.
It's not an easy industry. Sometimes your partner on the other side.
Wait, hold on. I need to debunk that because some people are like, oh, it's easy. Real estate agents just open a door and go get a Lamborghini. Come on, folks.
I haven't gotten there yet, but if I do, I will.
I need a Lambo out front because it's not just opening doors. It is solving the problem of the solution.
Absolutely.
And it's not that there's so many problems right now. There's just out of the box.
Absolutely.
Because the rates are higher. Conventional buyers, savvy buyers are typically standing on the sidelines right now until rates come down. So the ones that are coming out, self-employed, I-10 loans, like we have to be the problem solving to their solution.
I like the challenge. Like honestly, if I had a job that I went to every day that was the same, I would be burnt out and bored.
Right. And I'm the same way.
For me.
And that's why I left the big bank because it was walk in, walk out, walk in, get off not ready. Like it's just you do the same thing in and out. And this gives us the availability to be that person in open arms.
Oh, and it lets you grow as a person, as a business owner. It gives you opportunity to grow.
You mean it's a business? Real estate's a business, y'all?
And I think I'll spin off of what she said. I think being in real estate, obviously from a monetary gain, yes, like it helps.
Right.
Right. It's a way to support your family. Right. But I think another thing about real estate is I think it's made me a much more mentally strong person.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You really learn to overcome. Your mindset has to be because you wouldn't survive it. So I think even I probably apply a lot of the logic that I learned in real estate and just motivational entrepreneur spirit. I think you apply it to your personal life, your friendships, your family, all of your relationships, because you've now learned to overcome every challenge that comes down the pike. You learn to overcome it, or have the mindset to deal with it in the best way that you can.
Yeah.
So,
So do you fear rejection?
I think that's honestly a natural thing for everybody, to be honest. But I mean, this, as far as like my business is concerned, I know real estate agents are salespeople. I mean, to be honest,
They should be.
I'm not a salesperson. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to push myself on anybody. If I say, if you want to work with me, you want to work with me. For
100%.
who I am, for what I can do for you, for the value that I give.
Here's
to
your
you.
value add. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's a good book. So if you need a book, Rejection Proof by Jen Saro, it's a really good. So how do you approach and adapt the change in a market, in a mindset that has continued to evolve? Because we were kind of talking offline is, 2012, we couldn't bring our kids.
Right.
So how do you approach and adapt the change that we're having to work with right now? And how can a newer agent go through with that?
Well, I kind of think like with Sixth Avenue, they're very innovative, and they think outside the box. And I think that's what we have to do as agents is continue to think outside the box, get educated.
Yeah.
Continue to put yourself out there to learn something new.
Would you say right now education is really big no matter what?
I would say education is probably a bigger focus than it has been in a long time.
Yeah.
The market needs much more creativity than it's needed. Since 2012, we've been in an accelerating market, right?
Yeah.
You've had your multiple offers and the challenges, of that, I guess you would say. But now you're really trying to level people and make them understand the value that there's not a perfect time to buy or sell.
Right.
There's not.
Like there's going to be give and take on each side,
Yeah.
and to educate the general public like that. And I think just with, I guess, and I don't know the statistic down to the T, so I don't want to misquote, but I think like 30% of the agents that are licensed in Texas have been since 2020.
42 is what I heard.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
42.
think that's-
Okay.
yeah.
So
I heard over
may be closer
40%.
to. So well, with the challenges that the market presents, being an educated agent, and I won't only say educated, well networked.
Yeah. This is where network matters and your village matters and who you surround yourself matters.
Yeah. And I think just our referral partners. I mean, the lenders that we work with, the title people that we work with, the inspectors, we need a team of experienced people.
Right.
Because our job is to facilitate these transactions,
Right.
to get them to the finish line, and to make our clients feel comfort in that we have an entire team of people that are looking out for your best interest.
Yeah, for sure. And when a transaction has sometimes 14, 15 branches of this tree,
Absolutely.
it makes sense to be able to work with those people. So do you have a favorite quote that you look at? Do you have a favorite quote that you like to kind of push daily? Because we were kind of talking about that offline. We have a Tom Ferry quote. What are we looking at?
I think we have two.
Yeah.
You want to read yours?
Well, I think mine is probably a Winston Churchill, and it's that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by giving.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
I mean, the more and more you get into real estate, like you get into it, obviously to support your family. And then you realize that connecting dots and being there for someone else in a time of need, because we do. I mean, we as agents, and I'm sure lenders, this. I mean, we deal with not only the hooray, I bought a new house,
Right. Yeah.
like we deal with a lot of life issues. And being able to be supportive in a transaction, but being there emotionally for people when they're, going through a death, a divorce, they're having to move away from family because of a job. I mean, it really becomes more than that. And I think just probably really successful agents probably give to their community and do and volunteer more than maybe we
They
think.
do. Yeah.
I mean, we certainly have both over the years tried to be supportive of the school districts and kids sports.
Right.
We do love to work with Carter Blood Care.
Love it.
That's a huge near and dear to my heart.
Love it.
Shout out. We're having blood drives next week.
We are.
There you go. So if you're watching live, blood drive
Yes,
next week.
Yes,
so-
we haven't posted on our socials.
Yeah, so one at Hudson Oaks
Okay.
at City Hall, and then
Oh,
one in
nice.
Decatur also
on
at
Monday the 1st.
City Hall.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
that's a charitable thing for me. That's very near and dear to my heart. It bought me some time with my dad. So that hits home for me.
Yeah.
And they really, really have shortages in the summer. So even if you don't come to our our blood drives, consider donating.
And I donate because I can't give blood because I'm anemic and I pass out every time. So
And see, I'm a weenie, so yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I got this.
hey, I'll promote it all day long and
Yeah.
I will donate all day long, but
No,
I
do.
will.
I start about 48 hours before I donate, and I get really hydrated. I eat a lot of protein, and I will if you'll be that regimented, it takes 15 minutes. You're in and out there.
Yeah.
you're
I
good.
literally have passed out every single time I've done it. So
Well, it's funny because we were trying to plan it, and I was asking Colleen at Carter Blood Care. I said, okay, so what are your best days to turn out? She's like, not Fridays. And I'm like,
Yes.
well, because we're thinking Fridays, everybody's coming home,
Yeah.
home, working a half day, working from home, whatever.
Yeah.
And she was like, no.
Uh-uh.
She was like, people hate Fridays. And I'm like, why? And she was like, people want to go to happy hour.
Yes.
And they can't do that if they've already just given them.
By all means.
Wednesday is actually turned down Friday.
Yeah.
So I love all of that. We were kind of talking before that of a couple of things that you wanted to bring to the table and talk about today. So
Let me see.
here we go. We're going to turn the tables a little bit. What kind of information can we bring to our consumers, our two that are probably watching this? But
Well, I think we kind of covered.
We really did cover a lot of it.
Oh, good.
A lot of it.
I mean,
well, and that's awesome.
We want to, also just say, people may think of real estate agent again as salesy or whatever, but we actually are advocates of our clients. We're trying to,
Absolutely.
get out there and help them problem solve, solution makers. And no, we're just not opening doors, showing pretty houses or whatever. That's
Because
not
that's
our
what
why.
social media has made.
Yeah,
Social
and I
media
guess-
has made it that you
I
turn
guess
the door.
probably one of my things that I would like to get out there to clients that we have now, clients we have in the future is, yes, we are an advocate. So
Yeah.
just because you call me and say, hey, Tosya, we get this a lot. Hey, Tosya, we're trying to decide, if we want, this to be our house for the next 5 to 10 years or our forever home, or should we just sell and do something different?
Right.
Call us.
Yeah.
You may not sell for 5 years, and that's fine.
But it's a strategy that matters.
And it's no obligation. we want to be sort of like your general practitioner or your trainer at the gym. They don't always know the answer.
Right.
But call us. We would rather have a conversation with you because we've told people before that have come to us. I'm like, don't sell right now.
No.
Or
don't
it's not
sell.
the time.
And I love that because there's so many negative headlines, but there's also so many agents that are like, oh, hey, it's always a great time to buy. Well, there's really, it's not. It depends on your unique scenario. And if your payment and you can't afford the rate or the timing of the market, and it's not a good time for everybody.
Right. And
but the market will change.
And we have. We've had to tell people, we've looked at numbers, we've looked, and for you, it doesn't make sense right now.
I had a lot of renters, I think it was last year, that wanted to buy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so looking at it as a whole and collectively between the both of us talking, me and my client is I'm like, probably just need to wait another year.
Yeah. Put money back,
work on your credit or whatever the scenario. There's always different scenarios, but or when the new construction was insanely
120
crazy.
people sitting.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just like, hold back,
I don't
a little
miss it.
bit, which again, if I'm a salesperson, you would think I would try to push that,
Yeah.
but it's really not in the best interest of the client.
Yeah. So what would you say to a client that says, hey, Glenda, I just can't afford it today because the rising market, the rising taxes, the rising property. What is your advice to that first-time home buyer that was once looking at 175, that's now 250, that's 350 now for a first-time home buyer? How do they afford it and how would they prepare for it?
Well, obviously from a financial perspective, they're going to have to decide what that looks like. So I would say you probably need to start with your mortgage officer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Someone yesterday was like, start with your agent. And I was like, no, that's not right.
Honestly, talking to your mortgage person, because like you and like we do a lot of business with my brother. Even if you can't buy right now, I sort of want to put you with someone who can say, hey, I see your financials here. And I see that we've got $25,000 in credit card debt. And here's where I would focus. I would focus on paying this off,
Absolutely.
below your, 30% utilization.
Yeah.
Then work on this and and decide, and so that they can create a budget
Right.
that they can put money away.
Right.
And then I think another probably alternative, at least in the DFW area, and I know that a lot of buyers and I have had this discussion, and I think she has as well, is here's the thing. Like, I've lived in Keller, I've lived in Mansfield, I've lived in Weatherford. I've watched all 3 communities transform
Right.
into, major hubs.
Right.
And, the people love those areas. I mean, if you love Keller, you love Keller. If you love
Right.
Mansfield, you love Mansfield. If you love Parker County, you've got that Alito, Weatherford.
Right.
There's lots of growth and development in all of those areas.
Yep.
And the taxes are rising. The infrastructure needs it.
Right.
I mean, you can't support all these restaurants and businesses and not have any money to do
Right.
so.
Right.
And so I think one of the alternatives is, I'm like, hey, let's go look outside of that.
100% go out.
Like mineral wells, which is,
Yeah.
in 2012, you'd be like, mineral wells?
Yeah.
Like,
Grandview.
You're like,
I have
what?
one in Riesel, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't even know.
I
what
don't think I've-
Riesel
yeah.
is.
Well, and like a lot of my
Here in
cousins that
Corsicana.
grew up, so they would be my mom's cousins. They all grew up in Garland in that area.
Ah.
Well, they all have kids, and some of their kids are having kids now. And so I've helped a lot of them, buy. And now they're all moving out to like Nevada.
Nevada is
Josephine.
huge right
Yeah,
now. And it's not Nevada. It is actually Nevada.
It is Nevada.
And it's Italy. It's not Italy.
Yeah. And so I think it's just that creativity of having agents that we see where the Metroplex is growing. I mean,
Right.
obviously commute times are a part of
Right.
a concern, but with a lot of people working alternatively now, like work from home and
Or
all
3
that,
days,
yeah.
half
Yeah,
partial work week
it's
now.
not as important to be in 30 minutes from downtown Dallas or 30
Yeah.
minutes from downtown Fort
Right.
Worth
And
anymore.
taxes are cheaper. And there's more loan programs when you start going further out. USDA becomes an
Yep.
option for
Yes.
0% down.
Right.
So it's a good loan option.
And we've ran into some really cool builders out to the west
Yeah.
Yeah.
who are really, I think, if they keep their hype up, we'll have a product that's really great. And
Yeah.
it's the Hayhurst brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have like the Simple Life.
Very affordable.
Yeah,
Very
it's
simple, but very
it's
affordable.
more of a country feel
Yeah.
than
And that's what
living
you
in a
need.
subdivision.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, after COVID, they all wanted to scatter from the urban,
Right.
and so this gives a really affordable option.
And there needs to be more affordable
Yeah.
options. And a
Yes.
couple of mine, they're getting roommates and they're buying homes together.
Yeah.
That's a good option.
Right.
Even boyfriends or girlfriends, they're literally buying as friends. Because that's just how, if you're paying, one was paying 1,500, one was paying 11. And when they put it together,
Yeah.
she came and said, I can't
Nice
afford
house.
more than 1,100. And I'm like, okay, let's break it down. What's he paying? What you're paying? It
Right.
was 2,700. And I was like, really?
They're a pretty nice house.
I was
Yeah.
like, you can get a lot of house for
Yeah.
it. And you're in the outskirts. Like, she wanted to go way out. And
Well,
I was
and I
like,
think first time home buyers need to have an agent or help with the mindset of, what about a townhouse? What about a condo?
Yeah.
Right.
and it's
I
not your
mean,
forever home. It's not
Yeah,
your dream
not your
home.
forever home, but it's certainly on down the line as you advance your career.
Yeah.
Could be supplementation.
Absolutely.
You could rent that property out. with
100%.
Potential of being a short term or a long term rental.
Yeah.
If we
that
could
can-
all go back, I wish I would
Yeah,
have done that. with my
100%.
first
My
house. I'm
home
like,
in
oh,
Mansfield, I was
Yeah.
like, what did we
Yes.
do?
Yes.
Yes,
I wish somebody
wish.
had told me, then.
Yeah.
And so if you're a first time home buyer, listen up.
Yeah.
I wish that 20
Yeah.
years plus
Yeah.
we could have
Yeah.
kept our first home 20 years ago.
Absolutely. Because the house we owned in Fort Worth, we moved out in, I think, 2013. And very quickly, maybe 2017, 2018, it was worth almost $200,000 more than I had sold it
That was ours,
for. And I'm
2014.
like, ugh.
Ours
Yeah.
is almost not quite tripled, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a rental ever since.
Yep.
we moved out.
Same
And I'm
here.
like, oh,
Same here.
killing me.
And I'm actually friends with the girl that bought my home. And yeah, if I could go back, I would not sell it to you. I'm just saying. So as a leaving thought today, what's one thought or mindset that you can leave someone that's kind of struggling right now?
As far as agent or
Either way.
consumer?
Either way.
I think one thing we see with agents probably is, and I wish somebody would have taught me a long time ago, in 2012, somebody would have been like, hey, by the way, you own your own business.
Yeah.
There it is.
You don't work for you work with a broker, not for a broker.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very important thing to bring to the light. And you kind of determine your value and what you put into it.
Yeah.
I think that's why we love naturally like Sixth Avenue, like the creativity. That was something we could get down and say, hey, I have all these ideas, all these things I want to implement. And they're like, okay. Of course, for me, they're like, Holly's taking it. They're like, one step at a time over there. Because I can be
She's
like
got a running list, y'all, and it's typed out.
Yeah. And so I think the creativity and just as agents, finding people that really support you. And I know it's so big. And obviously since 2012, 2023, I feel like the real estate industry, as far as brokerages,
There's
been a lot of shakeup there. A lot of different models out there, and you got to find what's right for you. I say find a mentor, whether it's your broker or your mentor, someone who really sits down with you. And I mean, not hands you an open house.
Not just contract,
not just, tells you how to fill out a contract, but like helps you personally grow.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that culture and that mindset, it can be a deal killer. Because I have phased through that.
Yeah.
I have phased through where I've been somewhere and I'm like, well, I'm just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And I need
and I don't feel like I'm just growing.
But it's just every brokerage and everywhere I've been, like I've learned such valuable things from each person.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because now with Sixth Avenue, like I'm back with an agent. I mean, he's a broker now, but Brian Sinclair. And we worked well at Remax Heritage together. And now like 10 years later.
And that's why you never burn a bridge, because you never know who you're going to come back to.
And so I think that's really positive. I mean, it's all about who you network in this business.
And that's what I was going to say too, is like we were talking about, even though, if you could say between the two of us, she's probably more outgoing than I am. I'm outgoing, but probably not as much, but you have to put yourself out there. Yeah. You have to show up. We talked about that yesterday. You just have to show up. Yeah. Show up at the event. Show up for your clients that are maybe have a death in the family or whatever it is. Just show up. And not just drop a pot by y'all. Right. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Don't do it. Like, be sincere about it.
Absolutely. And I think that's just circling the business for over a decade. You're kind of like, oh, like for me, like, and we do pop buys and we do some stuff like that. And it is beneficial to keep in contact. But for me, I don't know. I've always kind of felt like I'm like, oh, are people annoyed by this little, I don't know. But they are good things to have. Yeah. And I think as far as just agents, you have to have an abundant mindset.
Yeah.
That anything that I've done in real estate that I thought was going to kill me only made me a tougher business person on the other side. Right. So like when you're going through it, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is
the worst transaction ever. You're like, I now know.
But I think if you just go off of that abundant mindset, that every building block makes you a stronger person, agent, business professional. Yes. I think you'll survive the business. Yeah. And just tapping into your sphere. Because honestly, whether you're doing open houses, or you're doing social media, or you're dropping off pop buys, I think if you just organically involve yourself in your sphere of influence, whether that's family, friends, coworkers, your kids' baseball team, are you a part of a car club, your church? I mean, if people feel like you're committed and a part of that community, absolutely, the business should naturally come to you.
Yeah, and it will. They will walk through the door because they're going to see you.
People want the person that's down to earth, that's easy to talk to. Yeah.
And that's not salesy.
And that's what I was going back to. Like, I want you to work with me because you enjoy working with me, not because I'm trying to sell you to work with me. Do you
want to buy or sell real estate? That's the funniest thing. Y'all, no. Agents, please don't buy or sell real estate. Yeah. Because it's not. If you can't invite your client over in your house to have that dinner, then are they really a client or are they a transaction? Right. And that's what we have to. And 2023 is so big about that. Yeah. And a client see that, when they're social stalking you as social validation, they are doing it reverse prospecting to us. Well, they know more about us than we know about them.
And that's kind of funny because when I started in real estate, and I did open houses every weekend and all that, I remember a connection that my dad made for me was a client an agent out of San Antonio. And, I had just called him because I've been in the business 3 or 4 months. And I'm kind of spinning my wheels. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing, I'm going to open houses and I'm, dressing like this and I'm doing this, whatever. And he's a top producing luxury agent in San Antonio. Wow. But he was like, so Tasha, he was like, once I dropped wearing a 3-piece suit to work, I put on ripped jeans and my cowboy boots. Yes. And I became myself. I won't want to mention his name. Right. But he was like, and when I met people for happy hour or, whatever, he goes, the business naturally
Yeah.
came. So
Be
I
you.
just don't think
Yeah.
there's a formula of being you as an agent. Like
Right.
you have to be you. And, you know, because I mean, there's people between us that we know mutually. They call her to sell their house.
Yeah.
And I can't be like, oh, well, why did, you know,
Right.
but they naturally acclimate to her and her
Right.
personality. Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you've got people that are naturally going to call me and want to work with me because they feel that
It's a safe
connection.
zone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say most important thing is tap into your community. I mean, your people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, love on your people and just know that the business is going to come to you if you're you.
And be you.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch one thing on the brokerage that you're with. I mean, again, another draw to Sixth Avenue for us was not only their culture, but their coin phrase is real estate with soul.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so that's very much who we are too.
Yeah.
Taking the real estate out of it, where we want to be true to ourselves. We want to have culture, community, all of those things. And so have a brokerage that backs you in that. And
Right.
we feel obviously Sixth Avenue was very like-minded with that with us. And
Right.
so that, I think that's huge.
I love that.
You know, to have the support of your
And
brokerage.
surprise, we're at 6th Avenue. They changed for me.
By the way-
By the way, breaking news.
We haven't officially announced it.
No, we
No,
haven't.
I think that was important. That's something we felt as soon as we walked in the door.
Yeah.
Sixth Avenue is that we could reconnect and make it a human to human
Right.
business.
Mhm. And
Because
this is.
I'll argue with you all day long in real estate
Yeah.
that you can have all the fancy technology, all the fancy pictures, video. We can do all of those things, and we do all of those things. But this is a human to human business.
It is.
Yeah.
And we have to get back to in person.
And
That is
it's-
my one thing. Agents, get out of your desk at home from your pajamas and go
Right.
Yeah,
talk
just
to
go.
people.
Just get out there.
Just
Just
go.
do it. Yeah.
Education doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, my gosh, mind blowing. I knew you guys were going to blow this out of the water here. As always, if you want to get a hold of Tosya and Holly, how do they get a hold of y'all?
Well, you can hit us up on social media, of course. We have our handles on Facebook and Instagram are 2 girls and a sold sign.
Okay.
We kind of recoined that because that's kind of what we do all day. Like
Yeah.
we're always together.
Yeah.
We've even started dressing alike.
Oh my gosh. This is insane.
Without
Yeah.
planning, like we show up like in green shirts and I'm like, this is really got
And
to
almost
stop.
the same
That's
sandals
weird.
almost.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's-
absolutely can reach out to us on social media.
Yeah.
If not, you can certainly reach out by cell phone or
Yeah.
email. And do you want me to give those numbers?
No, we'll put it below.
I was gonna do
And
that.
as always, if you're an agent struggling and you're just not sure where to start, you can always reach out to me, do a one-on-one connect call, and let's figure out if we can move the needle in your business. And if you're a client looking at not buying or selling, but growing with Tosya and Holly, you can absolutely get a hold of them. And as always, I am Glenda White here with Verity Mortgage. This is the Epic Podcast going live today with our one person watching. I love it. It's okay. But until next time, you guys go make it a amazing day and be epic.
Thank you.